Dr. Peter Plumstead, Innovation Director at Chemuniqué, was honoured at this year's Poultry Science Informal Nutrition Symposium. He joins us now to talk about the award, his career and research. Dr. Plumstead, please elaborate on this award and how it aligns with your vision for the poultry industry.
Yeah, so this award is given out at the Informal Nutrition Symposium at the Poultry Science meeting in the US. So we were recently over there in July, and yeah, I think it's a pretty big deal. So if I look at the previous recipients who got this award over the last 20 years, they're very clever professors, and I'm not sure I qualify in that category. But the reason I was given this award and what it represents is simply it's an award given out to what they call our mentors. So for people who have been significant mentors to others in the poultry industry and to students, and that's something that I've been doing for about the last 15 years. And it's been extremely satisfying. So while I'm not sure I deserve it. All I've done in that process is simply to try and give back to young students in a similar way to what my mentors when I was young did for me. So there's several mentors in my life. I'll start with my mother, who taught me a little bit about German work ethic. But on the academic side, Professor Harry Smith, who recently passed away at University of Pretoria, was the key person who got me into the poultry industry when I was a very young, I'll call it obnoxious student. And then subsequently, I did my master's and my PhD in North Carolina State University, and Dr. John Brake was my mentor there. So I really owe it to my mentors who got me on this pathway, and what's been a fantastic career. And all I've been trying to do is create the same opportunities for young students in South Africa who are studying poultry science.
Just give us some background on your career up to this point.
How do students choose careers? In my case, it was literally coincidence of meeting the right people. It wasn't planned. And a lot of students want to either become farmers or want to become veterinarians, because those are kind of traditional recognized careers. Nobody considers that being a nutritionist, i.e., being the person who decides what nutrients and what goes into feeds that get produced, is probably one of the most exciting careers that's possible. And simply because you can have such a big impact on the health and well-being of animals that are alive, rather than being a veterinarian and fixing animals that are sick. So I became a poultry scientist purely because of Professor Harry Smith, who at University of Pretoria at that time introduced me to the poultry industry. And I didn't even know that such a career existed. So I think the message to students out there is that, you've got to look a little bit wider in terms of, if you love animals and you love animal agriculture, there's fascinating careers in the animal production segment that you may not have considered before. And those, that career has taken me across probably 30 to 40 countries around the world. And it's been an amazing experience, aside from being fairly well paid if you're an animal nutritionist. So maybe that's just a take-home message to all the young students out there listening to that.
So why do you put so much emphasis on getting students excited about poultry research as such?
Well, if you think about it, so in South Africa, we produce about 21 million broilers every single week. Okay. And chicken is by far, I guess, the most consumed protein source in sub-Saharan Africa and even the world now, because chicken has surpassed pork, even in China. And so if you consider, that opportunity from a food production point of view, so poultry consumption is growing. And something students have to consider is, where are you going to get a job one day when you finish studying? And the likelihood, if you are in animal agriculture, that you'll be working in the poultry industry is very, very good. So probably about 60% of animal science students are going to end up in the poultry industry, whether they like it or not, simply from a job perspective. And the reason it's so important to get excited about that is, if you can get paid to do something that you're passionate about and that you're excited about, and that's an exciting career, then going to work is fun. And my whole life, I've never really considered, the fact that I go to work. I just go and have fun every single day, trying to figure out, how do we improve the efficiencies of the food that we produce, i.e. the chickens that we grow. And that's been extremely challenging and rewarding, and just an exciting process, aside from all of the interesting people that you meet along the way. So that's really why I want students to consider poultry and poultry science, and the fact that, yeah, it can be one of the most exciting careers that you've ever considered.
Any exciting new developments in poultry research we can look forward to?
Oh, there's lots. So I work within a private research company called Neuro Livestock Research. So we founded Neuro Livestock Research about 6 years ago now, and we are doing some incredible stuff, also on a global scale. So this is why we were at the Poultry Science meeting in the US, and we're going to the Latin American Poultry Science meeting soon in October, where our group, i.e., our little research group in South Africa, coupled with University of Maryland, is presenting some groundbreaking work that we are doing in poultry, specific to calcium digestibility. So yeah, just to give you the short version, so calcium and phosphorus are critical for bone development. In poultry, we've been formulating to digestible phosphorus for years, probably even the last 20 years, but nobody has cracked being able to formulate on a digestible calcium basis. And our group are the leaders in the world in that segment, and we are the first ones globally to have developed a digestible calcium system for poultry that nutritionists can actually formulate to. And the reason we're doing this is calcium plays a pivotal role, obviously, in skeletal mineralization, but it also plays a pivotal role in gut health. So if you want to improve the gut health of the birds that you're feeding, paying attention to what calcium levels and what calcium sources you're feeding is critical. So that's one of the areas we work in. We also work a lot in more sustainable poultry production, in terms of antibiotic-free poultry production, and improving the health of the birds that we feed. There's some exciting stuff in terms of ascites research going on, and then also just simply improving cost of broiler production. So everybody cares about how much you pay per kilogram of chicken. And if we want to make South African poultry industry sustainable, we have to stay competitive against imported broilers coming into the country. So it's critical that we keep doing the research here, make our poultry producers I guess more efficient from a cost production point of view, and in doing so, make sure that the jobs in the poultry industry stay in this country and that we don't depend on imported chicken.
Congratulations once again to Dr. Peter Plumstead, Innovation Director at Chemuniqué, that was honoured at this year's Poultry Science Informal Nutrition Symposium.